Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Please like the video and subscribe and share with a friend if you know someone that has moved from from one city to another and just needs some encouragement. So today's video is without an outline. You'll notice that I'm wearing the same thing in 3 different videos, but I recorded these videos on the same exact day just because I also have an Etsy shop that I'm working on. I have a blog that I'm working on, and I'm trying to make everything cohesive. So it has been a really busy season for me. So today's video will be without an outline. It'll just kind of be a little bit more chatty video about just everything that you go through as a transplant, and kind of just see where it goes with what I'm talking about today. So one of the things that I feel is the hardest about being a transplant is having no friends. We obviously have a really amazing church community, but the connections I had back in New York City for a long time, I thought were gone, when in reality God had just, moved me from one place to another. But those connections and those friendships are still there, and when I need them, they still make themselves available. But sometimes just having that person that you can go to coffee with or just be transparent with and to be known and understood is so hard to find. Obviously, as a transplant, you can't expect to go out with someone and to be fully known. And I guess when I went to coffee with friends of mine here, I missed the familiar. I missed the I wish you knew all of me, or I wish time could, just be accelerated so that you can know me and know me fully. And obviously with friendships, it takes time. It takes time to build trust. It takes, it takes that trial and error. It takes the honeymoon period, because you meet someone and you find all the things you have in common with that person, and then something happens down the line and you're disappointed, or you have high expectations of a friendship and then it doesn't go the way you thought it would. And so honestly, my best advice to someone that is a transplant and is looking for a friend, I think my best advice would be take your time and lower your expectations, and actually toss your expectations out the window. It's not that you can't expect people to be good, because I will tell you that all the people I've encountered in Texas and the people I've hung out with, they're amazing people. But I felt like I put a really high expectation on being known, and sometimes you can rush things and not appreciate the taking your time in a friendship. When you're dating someone, for example, when I dated my husband, the beauty was that he didn't know me and that I didn't know him, and that things were exciting, and that you get to know the person as you go. It doesn't take 2 months and you instantly become best friends. It takes time. And I think that was the one thing that I wanted to accelerate. I wanted to accelerate the getting to know the person immediately and having 100% trust in the person. And I think that has lowering my expectations and loving people where they're at, and also being loved where I'm at, has really helped me. It helped me identify the areas where I was not mature in and that I needed to mature in. And I'm still a work in progress, but it's been so much better to just kind of lay back and trust God with your friendships, and also pray about your friendships. One of the things I didn't do was I didn't pray about my friendships. Now I'm more prayerful about them. But I'm grateful because I've learned so many good lessons from friendships, and I've gotten to know amazing people. And what I love is the influence they have over me and the influence I have over them, and how much we need each other. We weren't meant to be alone. We were meant to be in community. I just had to kind of find where my place in community was. Now, will I tell you that I found my BFF? No. I do not have a BFF in Texas, and that's one of the hardest things. because you want someone that you're gonna go shopping with. You want someone that you are gonna hang out with, that you're gonna go to coffee with, that you're gonna spend time with, and that you're gonna be together, you're gonna do life with. And so, have I found that person? No, but I feel that that person is already in the. It's possible that that person's already in in the midst, and I just have to keep being prayerful about it. But yes, it has been hard. But the upside to that would be that my husband and I have become great friends. He has become my very best friend. And a lot of people say, well, your husband can't be your best friend. Well, he is, because he is all I have here after Jesus. And so he and I have fortified our marriage and the walls of our marriage. And it's just been such a crazy, intimate, amazing experience. And I don't think I would trade that for the world. The second thing I think I would say would be the hardest part from moving to Texas from New York. I think it would be my family, how much you miss your family. I was talking about it with a friend, and I think her and I were able to agree that when you move from one place to another, and you leave your family behind and your friendships behind, you notice how people move on. And you're no longer a void in their lives. They learn to adapt. And so when you go over there, when you visit back, you'll see how like relationships have changed and how people have just moved on. And so that's hard. And not moved on from you, but just kind of moved on from like, okay, you live in Texas. It's not that I no longer miss you, but I've learned to cope with the fact that you're not in New York anymore. So that's definitely hard, and missing my family is difficult. But I think what really keeps me grounded is purpose, and learning to discover my purpose and learning to discover my place here and why I am here. And just with how much bolder I've become, and how much more resilient and sold out to the cause of Jesus I've become, really shows me that everything that I've gone through is so worth it. And I think that is kind of what anchors me. Jesus, I've experienced a deeper relationship with God where I hear him more. I am more in communion with God. I feel like I'm walking more intentionally with the Lord, and I am asking those important questions like, Lord, why am I here? Why did you create me? What was the plan you had for me? What's the plan you have for me? What is your purpose for making me? Why did you create me? Why did you make me this way? Why do I love to create? I've learned to just be an individual and to be okay with that, and to be okay with the fact that I'm not like anybody else, and that when God created me, he created me by myself. He created a unique version of me, that there cannot be a replica of another Alejandra, and that I have something to say, and that I'm valuable to him, that he loves me. And so those are the things that I wouldn't trade for the world. And the loneliness that I felt in the beginning when I moved here became an opportunity to increase my awareness of how much God is with me. And so I hope I'm making sense, because I feel like I'm venting right now, but I do hope that this encourages someone to know that there's a purpose for why God created you. There is a reason why he put you on this earth. There is a reason why he created a you. There's no one else that's gonna be, maybe there'll be another Stephen, but there will not be another Stephen like you. That there will be another Claire, but there will never be another Claire like you, with your DNA, with your hair strands, with your smile lines, with the way that you are created. No one else will be created. And so why am I here? What was the purpose as to why you created me? And sometimes when we go through certain things, trauma, abuse, and pain and painful relationships, those things kind of rewire us. And my prayer, I learned to pray and say, Lord, restore me back to Eden. back to what I was supposed to be, back to what I was supposed to be before trauma hit, before I was in pain, before I experienced tough relationships. Restore me back to that and restore to me the joy of my salvation. I will tell you that in 2020, I experienced the most joy in the midst of so much heartache that I've ever experienced before. My family was in the epicenter of COVID-19, and I had to trust that this thing that was emerging, that we had no information about, that we didn't understand, this sickness that had come upon us, that we had no idea where it came from and how it evolved. I had to trust the God that promised me, I'm taking care of your family. And you have to, and give me joy in the midst of seeing all that transpire and seeing all the numbers go up, and watching my mom and my family be in panic. And I was able to have just the most joy in that season. And I will tell you that unfortunately we can't avoid heartache, but I will say that in the midst of heartache, you can experience tremendous joy, and you can experience such beauty from your ashes. And so I think that is one of the things that has really brought me comfort in this season of learning and relearning myself and relearning who I am, and just making bolder steps and more audacious decisions that most people would be like, oh, what are you doing? Like, are you sure you want to go that route? God has given me boldness, because after you make a move like this one, after you make a move like the one David and I made, which was moving to Texas from New York City and leaving everything behind, your family. And I mean, my husband and I we are so close to our family members. So it just made it that much more huge. After you make a decision like that, all your other steps are bolder. All your other steps, you're like, if I made this move, then I could do this. You're bolder to say no to what you need to say no to. You're bolder to say yes to the things that you need to say yes to. You're bolder to walk in where God is calling you, because it just, you have more courage. You feel more courageous. And so even if nothing comes out of me pursuing my dreams, I was bold and I was relentless. And that gives me peace. That the only risk that you make is taking no risk at all, because you'll never know whether or not it will work or it won't. I mean, coming to Texas was a risk. It was a huge risk, but it was so worth it because I gained so much more. And in the areas that I thought that I was losing, I was actually gaining. And in the areas that I thought I was being diminished, God was actually multiplying me. I didn't lose the relationships I had in New York. They changed, they evolved, they became more intentional, and I have more quality time with them than I did when I lived there. Time is taken for granted when you live next to the person that you love. But once that person's removed from your vicinity, then when they come, you have a more of an intentional heart, because you know that they're gonna be here for a very short amount of time. I wish we lived like that every single day, but we don't. So yeah, this video was like all over the place, but I kind of just wanted to have like a free without outline video and just kind of chat about how I've been feeling with Texas. And I think it's a proper outlet to kind of just try to help someone and know that God hasn't placed you where He's placed you to punish you. He's done it to grow you and to multiply you and to get the best out of you. So if you have transplanted from one place to another, then I ask you to just have faith that the God that started a good work in you will bring it to completion. And that's one of my favorite Bible verses. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for hearing my heart. Today's video was literally just me speaking and kind of chatting about how I feel and how it probably went nowhere, but I hope you got some nuggets out of it and that you're able to be encouraged that we serve a good God. So take care. You guys have such a blessed week. And I'm already saying bye. I have like this thing where I constantly do this. But I hope that you guys have a blessed week, that you like the video, that you subscribe, and that you share with a friend that you know that may be going through this and just needs to hear some encouragement. Take care. Bye-bye.